Hello, Penn State coaches. I'm excited to be spending an hour with you today covering a near and dear topic to my heart called intrinsic motivation. Today's lesson supports the belief that regardless of where you grew up, how you were raised, or what you've experienced or endured, you have ownership of your own life and have the ability to make lasting positive changes for your future based off what again? Your own personal intrinsic motivation. Remember last assignment, you interviewed a family member. We found out a specific experience they had and how it affected their behavior, stress and perception, their drive, emotion, their attitude, etc., right? Sometimes it can be difficult to evaluate and analyze these human development theories and models with such close relationships. So this week, we are turning it in a new direction and having the focus be on well-known influential individuals, such as Donald Trump, Lucille Ball, and Mark Cuban, just to name a few. For example, see if you can guess who this individual is. This specific individual had a hard-scrabble childhood shaped by tragedy and a lack of money and was considered too shy and reticent to put their best foot forward in school. Would you guess this individual to be the iconic and hilarious Lucille Ball? So what does intrinsic motivation have to do with that? Well, before we get in too deep, by the end of this lesson, you'll be able to define intrinsic motivation and offer relevant examples. You'll be able to evaluate experiences to intrinsic motivation by correlating these experiences to specific individuals' lives. And finally, you will be able to identify and analyze human development theories and models, specifically those used in the individuals' lives that we will cover in today's class. Let's go over a few other well-known influential individuals and try to choose who we think each experience belongs to. The first one is, this individual sold sets of garbage bags at age 12 to save up for a pair of shoes rather than asking their parents for money. Number two, this individual was raised with the counsel, quote, "My child, never eat a single mouthful unless you are sharing it with others," end quote, which helped instill a deep commitment to charity from the very beginning. And number three, this individual learned to play piano by age 4, wrote their first piano ballad at age 13, and held their first performance in a New York nightclub at the age of 14, even while being bullied tremendously at school. Let's take a minute to write down who we think each experience belongs to. The first example about selling garbage bags was Mark Cuban. The second about charity was Mother Teresa. And the third about performing talent is Lady Gaga. These three individuals are vastly different. They were each born in a different decade. They were raised with very different upbringings, yet they all contributed to the world in which we live in today. So what drove Mark Cuban to start being an entrepreneur so young? And even after thinking political figures had killed Mother Teresa's father by poison, why did charity overcome her instead of resentment and bitterness? And lastly, how can someone who is belittled constantly have such reassurance in herself that their opinions didn't matter and she knew what she was capable of? These are all examples of intrinsic motivation, and we are just getting started.